Freedom Caucus is the reason that GOP care, Ryan care, Trump care, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it really, and frankly, substantively, it really is Ryan care. He crafted that legislation. It's in line with everything that he's been attempting to do in terms of radically increasing inequality, making people poorer and worse off, and redistributing money to the top. That has always been his policy agenda. And what was clear in doing that in this legislation was that he's not even capable of doing it in a particularly deceitful or clever way. No great policy mind there. It might have failed in the Senate. Very likely it would have failed in the Senate. But the reason that it failed in the House is the same reason that Barack Obama's atrocious offer in 2011 to cut Social Security and Medicare failed, which is that the most fanatical, rabid, extreme people in Congress, Freedom Caucus, killed it. Why? Because it wasn't even worse. And there's no incentive structure for most of these people to shift in any way. My assumption with this guy, Congressman Ted Poe, who, as of the vote, has left the Freedom Caucus, is explaining why on CNN, I don't think it's that governing has made him more responsible. I would guess that Donald Trump is incredibly popular in his district, and he doesn't want to be perceived as going against a guy that's still very popular with the Republican base, even as he is a historically unpopular president. Here he is speaking on CNN with Alisyn Camerota.
The Freedom Caucus has always been the opposition caucus and against the Democrats. And now when we are in the majority, it continues to be the opposition caucus against anything in the Republican Party. And we had not been included in the past, but we were included in the health care replacement bill. I mean, we spent an hour and a half with the President of the United States, the Vice President, members of the cabinet, talking and making compromise. And compromises were made, things were added to the bill based upon the input of the Freedom Caucus. But then at the end of the day, no, it was easier to vote no. And so I'm angry about that. I think it's time that we lead and continue not to say no on everything that takes place when bills come forward in the House of Representatives.
Well, so look, since the president did make those concessions to the House Freedom Caucus, what did they want?
Well, there's some members, I think, that wanted some really stronger parts of the repeal in the bill. But it would move too far to the right where you wouldn't get any other Republicans to support it. So it's a compromise. And I think that there was nothing that could be added to the bill that the Freedom Caucus would ever vote yes on. And so I got the opinion that there's some members of the Freedom Caucus, they'd vote no against the 10 Commandments if it came up for a vote.
Yeah, I could see that the 10 Commandments might be perceived as being indirectly beneficial to poor people. There were some people that weren't in that meeting where they were hacking away at health care. People with middle class or low incomes, women, or people of color. Or really anybody that would be adversely affected by this grotesque assault they were planning.
Do you see the people behind these 10 Commandments? They're SJWs.
They're total SJWs. Totally unfair. I call them the Beta Cuck Commandments because they're the Beta Cuck Commandments. It's true.
Hey everybody, Sam Seder here.
Donald Trump is a bad guy. Believe me. It's true.
It is true, and you can subscribe to this channel by subscribing to this channel. It's true.